All right, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us for our pre-tournament news conference for the ANNIKA, driven by Gainbridge at Pelican. Joining us today, we have Dan Doyle Jr., owner of Pelican Golf Club, and we have tournament host and tournament namesake, Annika Sörenstam, host of our great event. So, Dan, I'll start with you. This is the 6th year of the tournament, 3rd year as with Annika and Gainbridge as a part of the event. Take us back a little bit to 2020 when you and the family were building this place and had this idea with Justin Sheehan, the COO here, and fast forward to how excited you are on the growth of the first 6 years of this event.
Yes, yeah, so, I mean, you go back to 2020, which none of us really want to remember, the COVID year. So best time to throw a golf tournament, and then you're told you're not allowed to have spectators here. But it was a perfect dress rehearsal, and we kind of figured out how things flow, how people flow. The crowds moved around, and then so the next year it was great to actually have spectators here. And then the 3rd year we were still excited about it, and how do we grow? How do we make it better? And then Annika came along, and I mean, you take it from this level to this level, and then we've kind of accelerated it from there. And I think it's fun. So our family, at the end of every tournament, we kind of sit down, how can we make it better? And now we sit with Annika and Mike and say, how can we make it better together? And I think we've accelerated every year. We've kind of upped the ante. The idea was to make it one of the best golf tournaments, whether it's men or women, make it one of the best golf tournaments in the United States. And I think we've achieved that.
Annika, same type of question. You've been involved with other golf tournaments over your career. You saw this tournament from afar, right, for the first few years. What's it been like for you in the past 3 years to be the tournament namesake of this event?
Well, it's been a dream come true. What can I say? It's to come here. Obviously, it's a little bit surreal to see your name everywhere. But it's been fantastic to have a partner like the Doyle family and obviously Gainbridge that support women in general in so many ways. And just kind of everything is just lined up so beautifully. This time of year, Florida, and, you know, this golf course, the hospitality here, the club, and everything just about it is just really what I think both Mike and I dreamed about. And like Dan said, it's gotten better and better because we care and we're committed and we're dedicated and we want to make a difference. We want the players to feel extremely, happy to be here and feel special, but also bring in the community. As you know, there's so many things that's going on this week with, charity work, et cetera. So I'm super proud. And, when Dan said, every year we sit and we think about what to do and make it better, I'm thinking, what am I going to do for 26? It's just, I'm not a person to settle, but I think thanks to you and your team, we've come a long ways. And I think we're all just very proud of what we have here this week in particular with the players and the sponsors and just the engagements in general and the support from, people like yourself, the media. It's been very, very, very positive.
Dan, speaking of community and community engagement here, 1 year ago at this time, we were just blessed to be able to host this event because the 2 hurricanes that came through. Talk a little bit about the community and the membership and the club that just came together to put on that event this past year, and then the community engagement this past year leading up into this event this week.
Yeah, so last year, obviously, we got hit with 2 hurricanes back to back. The golf course, I can tell you, was underwater at one point in time, the entire golf course from rain. The members showed up on that Friday with chainsaws, and we butchered the place and cleaned it out and got it ready. And I think it was actually, the golf course last year looked perfect. I mean, I remember going back, looking at it on TV, going, holy smokes, 3 weeks ago, this place was underwater. And it just shows, I mean, it's the membership that they're very proud of their club. That was part of the idea behind it. They're very proud of the club. And so then this year, you go fast forward like you asked, and it's not even just the members, it's the town of Belleair. They were very proud of this golf tournament, and they volunteer. I mean, they're the volunteers. They were the ones handing out the golf balls to the players. They're lining up the golf carts down below. They're directing traffic and things like that. They just take a lot of pride into this. And and then it's always fun to hear the buzz when Annika and Mike are out for dinner, and oh my gosh, Annika Sörenstam was at our restaurant for dinner. I mean, it's a neat buzz that it creates in the town. I mean, this is a 3 square mile town, so everybody knows. Everybody knows what everybody had for dinner the night before. So it's just been an excitement, and it's built year over year. So it's a lot of fun.
Last question from me, then we'll open it up to questions. Speaking of buzz, the buzz of this year's tournament is through the roof. So one of our sponsor invitations, Kai Trump, was just in here talking about her excitement on the week. So talk about the buzz of this event, and also Dan, Kai Trump was Pelican Golf Club sponsor invite. So talk about just enhancing, just y'all's goal of enhancing, elevating the tournament, and seeing that through the buzz from this week.
You want me to run with that one?
You can, yeah. Well,
I mean, so the idea of the exemption, when you go into the history of exemptions, is to bring attention to an event. She's a lovely, I mean, you got to see her live. She's lovely to speak to. And she brought a lot of viewers, through Instagram and things like that normally don't watch women's golf, and was the hopes. And we're seeing it now on Instagram and social media. So it's created a buzz on top of the other great players that we have here. So I think, the golf course is set up, I think, probably the toughest it's been. So there'll be a lot of buzz about that. But the lead up, it was great. I mean, we slowly brought out all the exemptions. All of them are great, but in different ways. So it's been a great build up, and now we're gonna get to see it starting tomorrow.
Annika, same question, just on the buzz leading up to this week.
Yeah, I think any tournament wants buzz, and I think we've had it now for a few weeks for a lot of different reasons. Obviously, with Caitlin Clark coming back, I think that's a big deal, and all the different initiatives that we're seeing throughout the week. The Women's Summit, and we're going to talk about the ANNIKA Inspiration Award, and of course, a lot of it has been to the sponsor invites. But I agree with Dan. It's about bringing people in with aspirations of maybe being a professional and playing the game, enjoying the game, and bringing something to the tournament. And I think that's what we see in all our 3 exemptions. Make me think about when I played at the Colonial in 2003, and that was at the time maybe a little bit of a controversial invite, but in the end it was, obviously I certainly appreciated it, and I think it was just brings attention to the tournament, to the sport, and to women's sport, which I think is what we want. And in this case, Kai brings in a lot of different people to the sport, and we want people to hear about our tournament and be part of it, and the word is spreading. I think that's a good thing. And keep in mind, the ANNIKA Foundation is one of the beneficiary here, and we're all about providing and empowering young women. So it really fits in our mission as well. So we're really looking forward to the week.
Okay, I'll open up for questions. If you raise your hand and name and affiliation, we'll start back here. Bill Smith, go for it.
Thank you very much. Bill Smith, Registry, Tampa Bay. Good afternoon. Annika, there's so many layers to this tournament. Could you tell us a little bit about the highlights for you this afternoon at the Women's Summit?
Yeah, you're right. Well, one of them, she's right here, Rachel Hick. That's a highlight. You get a chance to talk to her and meet her. I don't know if you've done that, but the ANNIKA Inspiration Award was something that's been in the works for the last few years. We wanted to celebrate the young lady that's been part of our foundation for a few years, but now gone on to do other things. And Rachel, I mean, she really checks every box, and I think you'll be super impressed hearing from her. But that's another thing that I really love about this tournament, that we get to highlight the things that we do in the foundation. We get invites coming here. We have on Saturday, we have Share My Passion Clinic. We have a lot of young girls coming here, getting a chance to, watch their role models, etc. So, that's what this tournament's about, is the youth and the future. And here we have somebody who's played the game for a long time and now want to inspire others. And I'm super excited about that. So thank you for the question.
Questions? Raise your hand. Beth Ann.
Thank you. Annika, I wanted to go back to Colonial for just a second. And how did you handle or deal with the controversy that surrounded that invitation and the pressure? What do you remember about it?
I remember it was overwhelming. You know me, I'm not really a person that loves to hold the microphone and kind of grab all the attention. So even though, you would have thought that I would have thought about what was going to happen, accepting that invitation, I just did it for the reason of, trying to get better and reach my full potential and get better as a golfer. And all of a sudden, it felt like the whole world had an opinion about my game and why should a woman play in a PGA event. I mean, there's a lot of, thoughts out there and comments. But I think what was most interesting is people that never really covered golf, especially women's golf, all of a sudden they were experts in my game. So it was one of those things you're like, you take it personally, but then you're like giggle because all of a sudden, now you're engaged. So, so that was kind of funny. But I mean, I just tried to look at it as, I'm thankful for the opportunity. I'm probably not going to get another one, so make the most out of it. And, I've always felt like a little bit of a responsibility to carry women's golf, once I became #1 in the world. And that was an opportunity. So, I just, through life, you're always going to have people that have comments and maybe don't agree with you. But, I stayed on my path and I knew what I wanted to do. And I had so much support, and the people around me supported me, the sponsors supported me, and in the end, looking back, and I think it was a good experience. So I think just in general, when you have something controversial for some people, just stay strong with your values and just kind of be yourself, and that's how I handle it. And I think golf has taught me a lot of things.
If I could just ask one more. Obviously, it's a big leap competitively for Kai making her LPGA debut. Mm-hmm. How do you think she should define success this week?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I mean, I don't think anybody's here is thinking, that she will be the one holding the trophy on Sunday. I mean, it's about opportunities and memories and lessons learned. And I spoke to her a little bit yesterday. I just make the most out of this week. There's going to be lesson learned. Take them and take them to the future and learn. That's how we grow. I mean, she's 17, right? I mean, there's so many lessons she's going to learn through life. And this week is going to be, the biggest lesson learned. And hopefully this will inspire her even more, to work on her game and get better and start, setting some goals. But as far as success for her, I mean, I can't speak for her, but, just come out here and absorb, meet players, enjoy the atmosphere, enjoy the course, and, just maybe make new friends and, create memories with your family, and then you go out there and do your best. I mean, that's really all she can do, and I think that's all really anybody would love to see. So, I mean, I wish her the best, and we've offered to help her in different ways, and I mean, I'm very impressed with her, and as of many other that are here, I want women's golf to succeed. So we can either do this together or we cannot, and I'll choose the first one.
Sarah?
Sarah Kellum, LPGA Tour. Dan, for you, why is it so important to you personally, Pelican Golf Club, and in partnership with Gainbridge and Annika, to continue to invest in women's sports like you guys have over the last 6 years?
It was kind of our passion when we started building this club. We looked at the Bay Area and said, there's not a professional women's sporting event in the Bay Area. I mean, we've got hockey and baseball and football, but we didn't have a professional women's sport. And it was funny. This was pre everybody, we should support women. We just kind of said, it's our duty. I mean, let's create it. It started with in all honesty, it started with our women's locker room. If you get the chance, walk in there. It's a pretty impressive ladies' locker room. And we just said, we're going to make this the best damn women's golf club, in the U.S. And we went out of our way to do it. And as I said, those first 3 years, we kept trying to figure out how do we make it better? How do we make it better? Meeting Annika and Mike, who now become good friends of ours. I mean, they helped us accelerate that, like I said. And, Annika, as she said, she doesn't like standing here in front with a microphone and talking, but she's got some great ideas and great opinions. And we kind of captured those and said, all right, what's the next thing we can do? And now it's almost become a passion project. I mean, kind of like the way the club was. And I'm just trying to figure out ways how we are going to make this the best golf tournament out there.
And then, Annika, as the LPGA celebrates its 75th anniversary season, you're obviously so critical to the tour's growth globally, but also just how well you played when you were a full-time competitor out there. Can you just speak to what this organization has meant to you, and even now, just seeing how much it's grown, how much parity we have on tour, especially this season in particular? But I don't know if you could just speak to that.
Yeah, no, I'd be happy to. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the LPGA, as you know. I mean, that's, growing up in Sweden and playing golf for fun, and then getting a chance to, make it a living and having dreams come true through the LPGA. It's been tremendous through the years, whether it's people you meet or places you go, or just trying to achieving your goals. So it's been an honor to be able to be part of it and continue to grow the tour and the tournaments and the players and women's golf, and in the positive direction. So, but as you know, it started with the founders, and then the trailblazers, and then the next generation. We're all just kind of doing our part, and hopefully more young women will pick up the game and look at it as something they want to do, and get partners to join, and et cetera. And it's been, I don't know, it's cool. That's what I think. It's fun to still have my name with the LPGA, with the tournament, to continue that and trying to make an impact in different ways. Obviously, I don't hit any shots to impress anybody anymore. So now it's about how can we get more people involved and grow the game with partners like Dan and Gainbridge. And it's been fun doing it this way. And hopefully, we won't be here for the next 75 years, but maybe somebody else will sit here and talk about 150 years and where women's golf is at that time.
Annika. Alex with the Course Life. Regarding Caitlin Clark being in the event, you've been very candid about having her presence here to bring new audiences to the game of golf. From year 1 to year 2, what have you admired about watching her learn and improve on her golf game, especially inside the ropes as well, too? Yeah,
she's a little busy playing in other sports. I don't know how much time she has to work on her game. I know it's been maybe not the season in the end that she wanted, but, started out as a fan from, outside the ropes or outside the court, and then to get a chance to meet her here, she left a very good impression, I think, on a lot of people, and especially me. I was like, she's really cool. She's very down to earth, and wow, she loves this game. And to see what she brought to this tournament, the people that came here, it was terrific. So I'm just glad she's coming back, and, she really enjoys the game, and I think she has a lot to add to it. So I'm glad she's going to be here, and, another fan of another female athletes that are doing a lot for the sport. So thank you, Caitlin.
And I'm curious if the roles got reversed and you had the opportunity to maybe scrimmage with her on the basketball court.
No,
how do you think you'd fare?
I'm not going to try. I'm not going to try, but it was funny. We were playing, and I picked up on the back nine, and we got to the hole 14 and 15, and she said, this is really hard. I'm tired, and I looked at her. I know I just played a few holes, so it was different, but 18 holes for us is not a big deal. And I said, how can you be tired? You can run up this court about 100 times, and you probably don't break a sweat. I would do it after one time. So it's just a different type of sport, different type of endurance. And so, but, in the end of the day, it's fun to just kind of share stories and, what's important to her and her goal setting. And I enjoyed listening to her, the way she works out, and what, just, I don't know, sharing ideas and kind of also see where women's sport is today. So I love that opportunity.
Brentley?
Dan, Brentley Romine, Golf Channel. You mentioned kind of the boost you hope to get by having someone like Kai, Caitlin Clark here. I was looking on Instagram. The photo of Kai and Annika from yesterday has almost 20,000 likes, whatever that means. But are there any other metrics like ticket sales or sponsorships that you've seen increase this year, and especially over the last?
It's funny. I haven't paid attention to ticket sales. Sponsorship has been fine. It could always be better. Again, I go back to we always think we can be better. No, I think we've gotten the buzz. We kind of went off the buzz and how we kind of valued that and said, okay, we've got the buzz that we want. Now it's our job to monopolize on it. I think ticket sales will be up. I have a funny feeling tomorrow's crowd. Last year with Caitlin, the crowd for the Pro-Am was unbelievable. It kind of took a few people by surprise. I have a feeling tomorrow's Pro-Am will be a little overwhelming as well. And I think we'll have a great Thursday, Friday. Weather's supposed to be perfect. But at the end of the day, it comes down. Last year we had the number 1 player win the tournament, which, it's kind of out of respect to the golf course. You kind of go, okay, it's great when the best player wins. And we have great crowds on Saturday and Sunday. And I think we'll just continue that. The field's stacked, I would say. And I think it's going to be an extremely busy weekend. And then as Annika kind of mentioned, it's fun watching Annika with all the kids. when they show up, it's a whole different environment on that side of the golf course during the tournament. You can go over there and there's hundreds of little girls out there running around swinging golf clubs, getting ready to be our next generation of golfers. So that's just as exciting.
And do either of you have any sort of anecdotal story of someone who may not watch golf, may not have tuned in or paid attention to this tournament that has reached out to you?
So here, I'll give a local one. There's a little restaurant up the street that I eat breakfast at on Mondays, and the waitress there is over the moon about the event this year. Now, I've eaten there for 10 years. And literally, I walked in on Monday, and she's got an Annika hat on. She had an Annika T-shirt on. I mean, she is all in. And then we just snuck up there to grab something since everything was kind of closed here. We just snuck up there, and she's screaming to everybody in the restaurant about tee times and who's playing where, and everybody needs to get up there, which I've never seen before. So that was kind of exciting. And then also a little bit scary because you go, holy smokes. I mean,
Yeah.
Belleair Cafe.
I don't know if I have a particular story, but just in general, I feel like, this is the third year for us to be part of it. And I just feel like more people know about the tournament. I mean, the last 2 weeks, I've had people say, good luck at the tournament. And then first my thought was, well, I'm not playing anywhere. And then I'm like, yeah, you mean, our tournament down there. So I just feel like the word is out there and people are watching and people are caring. And we've had a few more people ask for tickets than normal. And so it's like they want to be here. And I mean, they heard how good this tournament is as far as just, the golf and the players and the course and the food. And I mean, everything is just great. And, but I would say also what Mike and I've noticed is, we've got to know quite a bit members here. It's fun when we go in, we sit have lunch there, and members come up, and it's like you start recognizing, become family, and I think that's pretty cool too when the members are so engaged, and it's cool. It feels like a little bit of a second home here. We come back here, and people are sharing stories how it was a few years ago and where it is to now, and asking how they can get involved and help.
Jeff?
Annika, Jeff Shane, Villages Daily Sun. Your first sponsor exemption, I believe, was in Tucson all that time ago. You were in college. What year were you in college, I guess?
That was my first year as a professional, but you're absolutely right. Yeah, I was in Tucson.
What do you recall from just the feelings of going into that first time teeing it up with LPGA pros, and what were you looking to get out of it?
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought that up because I went to tour school the year before and I didn't get my tour card. I missed it by one, so I got what they call, at the time they call it conditional. So I was like fourth conditional, which I translated into fourth alternate, really. So I got that invite because I went to University of Arizona, so I got an invite there, and the course they were playing at the time was Randolph North, and it was just one of the public courses in middle of town. So, and that was our college course, so I'd played it about 1 million times. So yeah, I was super thrilled, but I remember most was just standing on the range, and you had all the players that I've been watching through years, whether it was Patty Sheehan, Pat Bradley, Nancy Lopez, Dottie was there, Beth Daniel, you name all those people that I've been reading about and just kind of watched on TV, and just to have a chance to hit balls next to them was very special. I did, of course I enjoyed playing, but just being around them in the locker room, and I was fascinated how great the locker room was at the time, and just things that you really didn't know. And then I got an invite the following week in Phoenix, and then in Las Vegas. So I've actually received 3 LPGA sponsor invites, so I know what it's like, and I'm very appreciative of those.
Amy?
Amy Rogers, Golf Channel. This question's for either or both of you. You've talked a lot about just wanting to grow this event, wanting to make it better. I'm curious what you see as the future and vision for this event in the future.
Yeah, I mean, it's, Yeah, it's very broad to say we want to make it, better. I mean, I wouldn't say we want to make it bigger because, I mean, this year we have a smaller field, as you know, because it just fits better for us with this time of year. And so I think I mean, you can, more doesn't always mean better. I think just, if you think of the facility, the course, how we treat the caddies, the players, the sponsors. I mean, just a lot of things. I mean, I would love for this tournament to be like when the players, in January, when you look at the schedule and, you look at tournaments you want to play, I would love them to say, we're going down to the ANNIKA, driven by Gainbridge. That would be, a dream. And why? Because of the things that we do, how we take care of them, how they feel here, and the importance of the event, and just those type of things, I think, is a measurement. I'd love to hear, Dan's thought too, but that to me is when players love the tournaments, they'll be here. If they come, then other people come.
I agree. I mean, one of the big things we look at what we can do to help the players. So if you look at the women's golf, I mean, if they're not finishing in the top 10, top 20, it really almost costs them money to show up at these events. So we constantly are looking for ways to actually get the ones that finish on the bottom, at least make it so they break even. So we're constantly looking for, okay, how do we make sure that, to your point, in the beginning January, they circle our event and say, I'm not missing this one. And so that's the goal.
Any more questions? Beth Ann?
Annika, could you just tell us your first impression of Kai's game? You played with her yesterday.
Yeah, no, yesterday was, like you said, the first time second time I met her, but the first time I played with her. She hits the ball really high. I think that, she drove it well. And, she told me she has to work a little bit on the putting on her short game, and she realized it's especially around these greens, it's quite the test. As far as distance, I don't think that that's going to be an issue. It's just, obviously, this is a big scene for her, a big environment and a big golf course. So, for her, just kind of getting used to that, it's going to take time. But there's no doubt that she has a passion for the sport. We looked down, I think, the third hole. She started to ask questions about my golf swing and why am I doing that? Why are you not looking at the ball? And then I was talking to her about my tendencies. And then I said, well, what are your tendencies? And she just went off, this is what I do, and I'm trying to do that. And so I felt like, wow, she's really interested in, just getting better and learning about her swing. And, she was telling me her hip is going this way and everything. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm just listening. I'm not going to give you any pointers here because it's, a little too late, just a few days before the event. But just her, excitement of getting better and learning. So I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, keep in mind, 17. I was trying to remember. If I was 17, I would play with somebody. If I would even dare to ask a question, I probably would have been super quiet. So, she was very, kind of forward in that sense and confident, and but then again, very, very appreciative. And so, so as far as her game, I think she has a distance. It's just going out there and playing a big course at an environment like this. And I'm sure she's used to, a lot of people, looking at her and analyzing everything. And one thing is different this year is I've never seen so many Secret Service people around here. I feel super safe. So that's another thing. But yeah, I mean, obviously her background, and I just don't know how she does it, honestly. I mean, to be 17 years old and hear all the comments, I mean, she must be super tough on the inside. I mean, I'm sure we can all relate what it's like to get criticism here and there, but she gets it, 1,000 times. So that's why I just want to, give her a break, come out here, have fun. I want her to feel like family here, and I want her to feel welcome. And I mean, give this girl a chance, right? That's what I think is our responsibility this week.
Well said.
Kelly Oken, Fairway to Green. What do you think the sponsor exemptions players could learn from Rachel Heck and other future winners of the Inspiration Award?
Yeah, well, do you want to come up here? I mean, why don't we get it? Yeah, why don't we get her up here? Oh. All right. Hello. Hello. Do you want to take that question? Talk about yourself a little.
Oh, God. Can you repeat the question?
Oh, sure. Sorry. What can the sponsor exemptions learn from you as they take this opportunity this week?
I don't know. I hope they just soak it all in. I feel like that's the perspective that I had when I got to play in my first sponsor exemptions. or qualifying for the U.S. Open for the first time. When I was 15, my perspective, I didn't have a goal. My goal wasn't to make the cut or finish top, whatever. It was just to soak it in, because at the time I thought, even though I thought I'm going to have 1,000 of these, this is the first of 1,000, I still decided to soak it in. It turns out it was one of 2 U.S. Opens. Maybe there'll be more in the future, but I'm glad in the moment I was able to take a step back, learn from the girls around me, meet people, remember those experiences, because you don't know where life is going to take you, and you don't know if that's going to be the last time you do it.
So that's a good segue. Thank you for the segue. So everybody, Rachel Heck, 2025 ANNIKA Inspiration Award. So today is today's Veterans Day, and a great background backdrop for this in the press conference. So ANNIKA, you touched on it a little bit. So, but talk about the ANNIKA Inspiration Award, the origin of this, and then Rachel receiving the trophy in the Women's Leadership Summit today.
Yeah, well, thank you for asking about that. Yeah, so the Inspiration Award has been kind of a conversation in the foundation for a little while. We just didn't have it, buttoned up for a while, just a lot of ideas. But how can we celebrate a young lady that's, played in 1 or 2 or 3 events, and but now gone on to do something different? We have over 8,000 that have done that through the years of the foundation. We wanted to just keep in touch with them and know what they're doing, and so eventually we came up with the Inspiration Award, and we kind of wrote down a few things that mattered and what was important. And Rachel here, she fits every single box and more. And we didn't want the story like that to go away. And we wanted to, highlight that. And her story is so inspirational, which is really what we try to do with the foundation. It's not necessarily to create the next superstars and major winners. It's more about the human being and making a difference in the community. And so therefore this award came about, and obviously we got a great sponsor with Jay Cleveland and the Cleveland brothers. They were just here, and to be able to present it this week with you guys here and all the young women around here. I mean, Rachel, I have a lot of friends that are playing, and I know you're excited to see them, and they've been asking about Rachel since yesterday, like, where is she? I said, she's coming. And so that's really what this award is about. We're going to continue to do it every year, but Rachel has set the bar really high, and super proud of her. And, life is tough sometimes when you make decisions and which you were meant to do something else and have the courage to pivot, which is what you did. And so it's been a cool thing to see and be able to share her story. I know you would have shared the story anyway, thanks to who you are and what you do, but we're so happy to be part of that journey.
And Rachel, for those members of the media who may not be familiar with your story, so All-American at Stanford, take us to when your final playing days at Stanford and your decision to not turn professional and what you did next.
Yeah, it was probably the most difficult decision I've ever made, not to turn professional. I think the hardest part was admitting to myself that that's not what I want. Because if you would ask 3-year-old Rachel what she wanted to be when she grew up, I would have said professional golfer. So in my mind, I kind of had locked myself in a box of this is who I am, this is my path forward. So it was hard, and it took some difficult experiences with injuries and, just low points playing to step away from the game and realize, like, I don't need a golf club in my hand to be happy. And there's actually other things in life that I'm really passionate about, that I want to pursue, that I won't get to pursue if I do play professional golf. So it was difficult. I think I decided fall of my senior year. Is that right, Mom? That's my mom. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's when I decided I was going to go pro, and now I'm an Air Force reservist. I did ROTC, for those who aren't familiar, throughout college, so I commissioned as a second lieutenant when I graduated in the spring of 2024, and I've just been absolutely loving it so far. I've got to go to now 4 different bases and do 4 different assignments within the U.S., and I hope to go abroad this year and the following years, but that's where my heart is, and nobody knows what's best for you more than yourself, and I definitely learned that and I'm proud of my decision.
The Air Force Reserve in you and the LPGA fan in you, how excited are you to be here this week and kind of hear just what Annika and Dan and now Dan Towers at Gainbridge, kind of their vision of growing this event and just elevating women's sports in general.
It is so cool what they've done this event. They have done a fantastic job, and just talking about the buzz it's gotten, and everyone knows it's going on, and that's pretty special because, as Annika was saying, all of my friends are out here, and they deserve the biggest stage, and they deserve all eyes on them. I got to see Rosang, one of my best friends who I haven't seen in a long time, earlier today, and we'll hang out the next couple days. But I mean, they're so talented, and so it's incredible how much they've put a spotlight on this event, and the girls deserve it 1,000%.
All right, any last questions from the audience? Sarah.
What does it mean to get this award on Veterans Day? I mean, that's a pretty cool piece of synergy.
It is so special how this worked out, that this happened to be on Veterans Day, and I thank the brave men and women who have paved the path before me. And I'm just a second lieutenant trying to figure out what on earth is going on, but I can promise everyone who's come before me that I'm going to do my best to make this country proud.
This is kind of a two-pronged question for Annika and for Rachel. Rachel, how has Annika inspired you? And Annika, how does Rachel inspire you?
Well, I'll start, because that's easy. I mean, she was a legend she was already a legend when I was growing up playing the game. I like to tell a story of, I had a Game Boy. They don't make Game Boys anymore. And there was a Tiger Woods golf game, and the only female player you could play as was Annika. So I'd play as Annika on my Game Boy every day. And I thought, this has got to be just the coolest thing in the world, the coolest woman in the world. So obviously I looked up to her game. I mean, you don't have to be a golfer to know that you're just witnessing greatness, which is pretty incredible. And then I admired her decision when she was done playing golf. She obviously kept her hand in the game. I mean, look, now this is the ANNIKA LPGA. She's done so much to uplift women in the game, but she was able to step away from the game because she knew what she wanted. And I thought that was incredibly impressive, because she could have gone on to win 10 more majors if she wanted to, but she stayed true to Annika, and I've always admired that.
I've seen Rachel, play for quite some time. She's always been super friendly and happy, and she looked like she enjoyed what she was doing. But I always thought you were, so with your friends, like very social, and people just love being around you. And I think when I didn't see your name for a while, I was like, I wonder where she went, because remember you had the injury and you were not there, and so it's like I think, yeah. I saw you at Augusta, I believe, and I was like, why are you not playing? I mean, I just remember we were talking, and then I read your story, and I think really what inspires me is that, a young lady has such a solid head on your shoulder, but to have the courage to go and do really what your heart is telling you to do, but I think also it makes me proud of the sport that, the individuals that come out of the sport is just something we're so proud of, and using golf as kind of a step on the way, right? I mean, you're not leaving the game. I mean, you're still going to play a little, and you always have the connection to golf, but then be able to do other things to inspire others. And I think, when you look back at people that have made a difference, it's those people. It's not, it's the emotional connection that kind of stays with us, People remember your golf, but it's more the person you are and what you do, and I think that's what I admire about Rachel. And also, I'm super curious, excited about your future, what you're going to do, and I think that's what. So we'll keep an eye on you for sure. Who knows? There might be another award, a Veterans Award, that's or something. But you're part of the family, and I hope that you stay that way.
Rachel, I'm curious. Whenever somebody takes a huge pivot in their life, part of that is letting go of the thing that you had been wrapped around for so long. Do you remember the moment, the day, the evening, whatever, where you finally came to terms with yourself about, I need to let go of golf so I can walk through this next door that I'm really passionate about?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if it was a certain moment that I let go. Honestly, I think the separating my identity, the letting go from golf, happened a bit before I decided not to turn professional. I think it happened toward the end of high school. The first time I injured my back, and that just happens. We're athletes, we're going to be injured sometimes. But that was when I had my full like a full identity crisis. Like, who am I without this game? When I don't have a club in my hand, like who is Rachel Heck? What do I stand for? Who am I? Which is a lot for a 17-year-old to be thinking about, but I'm glad I had that experience. I became super depressed and I realized I needed something more in my life than golf. And that's when I had the idea to just try ROTC. So when I decided not to play golf anymore, that was long after I had stopped defining my identity by what I did. So it didn't feel like, it wasn't too difficult to eventually leave the game because I wasn't losing a part of myself. And I feel like golf is a family and I'm still around it and I still love the people. I keep in touch with the people, but I had already separated golf from my identity by then, so it didn't feel like I was missing anything.
Any more, any more questions from the room? Nope, all good. Dan, Annika, Rachel, thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Let's have a great week.